This wild scene all unfolding in a mill complex on Rand Street. Now, that's right near the Central Falls line.
They were a couple hundred feet away from me, but they were also a couple hundred feet tall. And I've never seen anything like that. Those firefighters saved their lives.
My name is Dave Lawlor. I'm a drone photographer and filmmaker living in downtown Providence. Right now we are at the former site of the Conant Mill complex. It just used to be a glorious facade, and now it's crumbled into just a million bricks. Because it's actually the largest mill factory in the Blackstone Valley, but this place is just a huge thread company, and JP Coats I think still exist, but just the fact that this complex was so huge, it had multiple buildings, and then it had recently in 2020 of March got destroyed by a fire.
The majority are now vacant, and all the 8 that caught fire were empty. One of them is the former site of Paramount Greeting Cards, which closed in 2006.
My partner Dave was driving early in the morning in Providence, about 5 or 6 in the morning, and called me and said, "Hey Al, I think part of Pawtucket is on fire, and it looks like the area of Pine Street." So I turned on the news, and yeah, the whole neighborhood was pretty much on fire. I stood on the corner of Pine and Conant Street and essentially just watch all the mills behind this building burn to the ground.
Years ago, this was the scene of booming business.
All right, so you're probably wondering, who is the founder of Conant Thread? And the answer is Hezekiah Conant. He was born on July 28, 1827 in Dudley, Massachusetts. He was known as a manufacturer and an inventor. He had a lot under his belt. So let's dive in and take a look at the history of Mr. Hezekiah Conant. Hezekiah's early life was split between school and farming. Fun fact, he is descendant of Roger Conant, who founded Salem, Massachusetts. In 1844, he ventured out to Worcester, Mass. And learned the apprentice trade. Once he realized he didn't like it too much, he became a machinist. After he studied mechanical engineering, he developed a reputation as a mechanical expert. Over the next several years, he came out with his first patent, a pair of lasting pinchers for shoemakers, became a journey machinist working in Boston and Worcester, and he worked at the Colt firearm manufactory where he assisted Christian Sharp, the rifle inventor. The achievement didn't stop there. He invented and patented the gas check for breech-loading firearms that was adopted by the US and British governments. In 1867 is when Mr. Conant became interested in thread manufacturing. He brainstormed and patented a machine for dress sewing thread and an automatic machine for winding thread on spools. He took this idea and patent and sold it to Willimantic Linen Company in Connecticut. He remained with the mill for 9 years and improved their machines and overall production in the mill. Conant went abroad to study thread manufacturing methods in England and Scotland. It was then, in 1868, Mr. Conant moved to beautiful Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where he organized the Conant Thread Company. It wasn't even a year when he secured the partnership with England's leading manufacturers, J&P Coats Company of Scotland. The company grew with additional cash flow, and when Mr. Conant passed away in 1902 at the age of 74, the mill covered over 40 acres, employed 2,400 workers, and his capital investment was a whopping $5 million. Alright, so I know that we talked about the fire in 2020, and it was extremely devastating for Pawtucket and Central Falls. But this was not the end of Conant Thread Mill District, because there are still surviving mills here, and they are still in production, and I bring to you a couple. And one of the mill owners you actually have seen on television, so let's dive in. This mill on Pine Street isn't your average run-of-the-mill. I let myself in, and at that moment I was taken away. This was home to Stretch Products. They make elastics products for your every need. There were machines everywhere on the first, second, third, and fourth floor. It was amazing. It honestly was the coolest experience. It was like going to a museum and seeing the history right before my eyes. The machines ranged in years, some newer and some very old. The floors, stairs, hallway, and bathroom architecture looked amazing. The noise inside was pretty overwhelming, but I loved the detail on every machine, and there was a function to every part of the machine. I was just mesmerized by the movement. I couldn't stop staring. Next on the list is Classic Customs. They're a local screen print shop, and they also print Brown University apparel. It was awesome to see the process of screen printing, especially inside of an old mill. That allows for the space for this type of production. Alright, last stop. We are visiting Alison from News Channel 10. But there's so much more to learn today, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this building.
My name's Alison Bologna. I'm the founder and executive director of Shri Studio Service Corps and Bark. Since 2010, we've been running outreach yoga and meditation programs for the community at large, anchored in Pawtucket, but we serve more than 8,500 students in the state, and we expect to double that once we move into this building at 390 Pine Street in Pawtucket in the Conant Thread District. When I met Dave, the owner of Tallman Enterprises next door at 392, we were really interested in this building for sure, negotiated on price, but we also had to deal with the remediation outside. And part of that had to do with capping the parking lot, lifting it up, capping it, rebuilding it, and making it safe for the larger community. So thanks to DEM, he received a $250,000 grant, and from that we were able to remediate outside before we closed on January 30th, 2020. And part of our mission here is to save and to honor the history of this building. So when I knew this was one of the only few buildings left that survived the fires, all the more reason to save it. So this building, 390 Pine Street, was called the New Administration Building. So this is essentially where Hezekiah Conant, we believe, worked out of. Payroll came out of this building. It's filled with safes, which we've saved, and safes inside of safes. So two of the freestanding safes we're saving for ornamental places in the building. And the safes that were built into the building are being repurposed into a boardroom for our nonprofit and also staircases as well to get to the apartments upstairs. We saved anything we really could that could be repurposed. So while you walk into the building, when we get our certificate of occupancy, you'll walk into what is this building now, which is going to be a creative live, work, wellness community. But behind the stairs that we're saving, will be a mini museum with all the artifacts that we found in the building, and it will honor the history of this building and Conant Thread. And what I think is so important about this neighborhood is that we don't lose sight of our desperate need for affordable housing in the state of Rhode Island. So upstairs we'll have 8 loft-like apartments, 1 and 2 bedroom units, and 5 of them will be 30-year deed restricted and designated as affordable housing units, mixed in with 3 market rate units to really create a live, work, wellness community in a creative way that honors the history of this building.